Good to see everybody today. This morning we have everybody present, but we need to excuse two members, Mr. Barfield and Mr. Rivenbark. Take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have an adoption of our agenda for today. Take a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have approval of our minutes. Mr.
September minutes in the packet. Any motion approved?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, for public comments. Do we have any speakers today? No speakers? Next, we have a presentation. Turn it over to Mr. Walter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Recognizing the accomplishments of the authority and the talent within it are important activities for our organization. Today, I'd like to introduce Mr. Craig Wilson, who is the engineering manager for the Project Management Division. He will provide a 1 to 3 minute overview of the Design Build Awards received by CFPUA, including the recent and prestigious 2020 Owner of the Year Award. Craig, please proceed.
Thanks, Ken. Good morning. I'm here to tell you about some amazing awards that the authority has received on the design build process. Design build is an alternate delivery method that allows upfront collaboration between the contractor, owner, and engineer. Design build is an effective procurement method that reduces the overall cost of a project as well as schedule if executed correctly. Design Build Institute of America, also known as DBIA, has a Southeast chapter. This chapter represents Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. It also represents transportation, building, and water and wastewater divisions. Every year, DBIA Southeast hosts an annual award banquet to recognize some of the outstanding projects in our region. In 2017, the award authority was awarded Best Water and Wastewater Rehab Project for the Southside Heat Exchanger Project. That's the smaller award right next to Donna. This project was selected for a couple reasons. One, of course, it was under budget and headed to schedule. And the other one was the fact that the design build team up front were able to collaborate and not only look at the piece of equipment based off of cost and performance, but also for constructability. One of the things that was in an existing digester building and trying to get that big piece of equipment inside that, we wanted to make sure that we didn't have to tear down walls, modify slabs. So what the contractor did is he looked at the components, figured out what he can take apart, and be able to get it moved into that facility, which saved us cost and saved a lot of time. And that's one of the reasons why that agency decided that that project stood out. In 2020, the authority received the award of Best Water and Wastewater Project on Southside Wastewater Treatment Plant Interim Rehabilitation Project. And that's the one that's like a pyramid. This award was for the $25 million and under category. But one of the main reasons why we won this award is this award was actually presented to us because not only did we meet and exceed our schedule, but we also saved roughly $700,000 on this project. This project was also a Clean Water State Revolving Fund project. And it was one of the first design build state revolving projects that we ran with the state of North Carolina. So upfront collaboration with the state helped secure and make a successful project, and another reason why we won that award. The DBIA Southeast chapter had another award that they wanted to present us in 2020. However, with the pandemic, we had to actually cancel the actual banquet. But it was such a prestigious award, they didn't want to just come to our door, knock on it, and hand us the award. So they wanted to wait for the next formal meeting. So 4 weeks ago, the DBIA hosted the 2021 awards in person. And they presented us with the Owner of the Year Award. And again, think about that is we represent Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. And we were going up against all the owners in that region. And we were selected out of a whole bunch of groups that do design build. Some of the reasons why we were actually selected is for our significant contributions to design build in our region, our commitment to design build over the past few years, and the authority has created an excellent process for design build within our organizations. We're even seeing other utilities and authorities mimic our documentation, which is great. Again, this is a very prestigious award. As you can see, they get bigger. Hopefully they can continue to get bigger. But I want to thank everybody. It's definitely a team effort. And I'll open it up for questions if anyone has some.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Good work. All right, next on our agenda is the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr.
I'd like to pull number 3 for further clarification.
Okay.
I'll move the rest of them.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Right, go back to Mr. Freeman, Mr. Apple.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is an item for $700,000 for the Calgon Carbon Amendment number 3 for GAC Media Exchange. My concern is, I just want to put a spotlight on it, and maybe Carl can add some more detail around it. It's disturbing to me that we're adding another $700,000, looking at a total of extending this project by 100 days in delays, while at the same time we're seeing increased levels of PFAS in our raw water intake. You know, to me, this is like a 3-alarm fire that we have going on. And I just hope that we have a sense of urgency around this. This is a serious problem for our entire community. And it's, brought to light here. But we're adding a whole nother, treatment, for half of our 14 GAC, existing media, replacement of that. But it's coming at a huge cost to our ratepayers, et cetera. We need this facility online now more than ever as we see the problem continues to increase. So I noted here, even from the last time we met, I guess as the Finance Committee, and had this, for one of these first reports of it, that we're now looking at another potential delay until pushing it back to June 6th, adding another 50 days or 49 days to the already moved back date. I recognize that we've had some poor weather, some rain, but we need to get this project done. So I don't know if, Ken, you want to address this, or Carl, or something?
As Mr. Stars comes to the podium, we, as your staff, agree that this is the most important project that we have, that we need to move forward. Like the rest of the United States and the world, we're subject to the supply chain constraints that are impacting projects across the United States, as well as the challenges we've had with the weather. Frank, would you like to elaborate?
Yes, thanks, and obviously I do share your concern. Although we have been accumulating rain days along with the project, which are defined very specifically in the specifications that the contractor has, that we will give him one extra one day for weather-related rain delays when we receive a 1/10 of an inch or more of rain in New Hanover County. To date, we've got 48 of those days. This is not information that we've been we have known about those delays, but the contractor's schedule was more optimistic until just a few weeks ago, when they took a harder look at their overall project schedule and said, okay, we're going to have to actually extend the actual time it's going to take to complete the project. And when that happened, we of course, that's kind of new to us, and we brought this forward as swiftly as possible, recognizing that the interim PFAS reduction measures that we're taking by replacing the the GAC and the biological filters needed to be extended. But we are working with the contractor, looking at his schedule, trying to find items that can be happen consecutively that he might have that he has scheduled. I know that, matter of fact, Craig is doing a lot of that work, who just presented to you, working with Adams Robinson, and they're trying to identify ways that we can expedite the schedule, and also working with operations at the plant as well. I will just make the comment that we have coordinated this GAC media exchange with the contractor. We do not expect any delays related to exchanging the media.
Frank, is there any financial penalties going to kick in, or do we have that built into the contract? It's the delay issue that, what's to prevent this to get us to May, and they say, oops, we need another, 60 days or something.
We do have liquidated damages. It's $1,000 a day prior to when the facility becomes, when we can have beneficial use of the contractors. However, we have been notified by the contractor that he is experiencing supply chain related issues, not for equipment that he would have had written purchase orders, his major items of equipment so much that he has contracts in place for since, early on when we bid the project, but it's more for minor hardware related type things that are just hard to get right now. So he's just put us on notice, has not quantified those days other than this June 6th day that you mentioned earlier. And so we will be trying to quantify our damages with him, but he does have a pretty good case of the situation that's beyond his ability to control.
Thanks, Frank. I appreciate that. Just one last general comment is that as this thing continues to literally explode around us, this PFAS problem, and gets worse, there are questions are already, coming to me as an elected official as to what are we doing? And believe me, I'm, in front waving CFPUA banner saying we're doing everything possible. At a certain point, it feels foolish when we get delay after delay after delay. This situation is not going to get any better until we get that entire plant online. So, thanks. I'll get off my high horse here for a minute.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So I have a sort of a general legal question. As part of our action against Moores, will all ratepayers be made whole for things like this? Is that
Yes.
Sort of,
Yes.
it's a
And that will
running
be-
talent.
Yes.
When we ship off the sludge from these filters, are we
Yes.
going to be made whole for those costs as well?
Yes, because we are having to take them to hazardous waste landfills, which costs more.
With that, I'll move to move the item number 3.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Move on to new business, administrative reports. Linda, any report?
I do not have anything now, but I do need to go into closed session and discuss 2 claims.
Okay, next executive director's report, Mr. Walter.
Yes, Mr. Chair, board members, we have our administrative reports, the key indicators report, the environmental report, the safety report, your quarterly CIP status report, and a customer service update. I would note that under the sustainability committee section, we will have a more detailed presentation around billing topics. So if you have questions regarding the customer service update, they may be answered within that presentation. Staff stands ready.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Musso.
thank you. Ken, on page 81 of my packet here, in the key indicators report, just a quick clarification on the Sweeney Plant Weekly NPDES chlorine issue. I don't have enough information or background. I see what looks like an increase in the chlorine levels. Frankly, I don't know, do we need more chlorine added, or is there too much within the system?
Ms. Eckert will answer that question.
The chlorine is really not an increase, and with regard to the chlorine, the levels, we have limits of like 17, which where that number is. However, anything below 50, because you have quantitation limits that are acceptable within the state of North Carolina, because you have so many interferences and the ability to test at that low level. So anything below 50 is compliance, and you'll see where it even drifts down below even the permit limit in that time period. So
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Also, a second question on the bottom of the page as well. This is kind of a general question, and maybe we have this data already. This came up in another organization. I know the amount of treated water that we put through the system is calculated through a metering process. Do we ever take the amount that's being delivered to our customers at the per meter, the amount that's being delivered, and compare the two values? You see, essentially, are we losing water along the way? Or do those match up or come within a certain value of each other?
Carl, would you share the answer to that question?
Sure. We do an annual audit of that. It's an AWWA type approved method, and where we compare the water that we put into the distribution system, how much do our customer use on the other end, and then any authorized uses in between, like firefighting or flushing, things like that, and then whatever is left would be our non-revenue water and our leakage. And we do that annually, that audit, and we have been tracking that for the last 4 or 5 years.
Wonderful. And where would that appear? Is that in our annual report?
It is not necessarily in our annual report. We're working that into upcoming performance measures so we can track that formally, but we have been tracking it informally within the various departments.
Carl, are there any red flags that we've seen over the years we've been checking it?
No, actually we have made great improvements with the meter replacement program, getting more accurate metering as well as more accurate data management of the meter reads, which have shown to indicate that we have lower non-revenue water. So it's that metering program, that meter replacement program showed a lot of positive impacts.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience, Mr. Chair. Ken, thank you.
I would add to that particular question that there's always this disparity between meter types, sizes, and ages. Very large meters of a particular type might have an accuracy range of 2 to even 5%, plus or minus. And it's difficult to take those large meter readings and then align them with much more accurate, more numerous smaller meters. But there's processes to do that and then to provide an error band. Yeah. And I believe our staff do that very well in the distribution system, and then we deliver that expertise back to our partners in terms of the raw water we purchase to help correct any issues there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments? Moving on to our committee reports. Executive committee met October 6th. Minutes are in the packet. Long-range planning, Mr. Sneeden.
Yes, the Long Range Planning Committee met on September 23rd, and the minutes are in our packet. And we had some presentation on the northern New Hanover County sewer conveyance capacity and needs assessment. And we felt like that was of enough interest to bring a short, abbreviated presentation to the boards today.
Okay. So this presentation is about, if you will, the larger Sidbury Road area. We've known for quite some time that development in northern New Hanover County, outside the former urban services boundary area, was going to occur, and we have been anticipating that with recent studies. What we have seen is that our near-term growth here in the last year is occurring at even much faster rates than was anticipated in our studies last year that we did with the New Hanover County Planning. So this presentation is kind of give you a sense of scale of that and also how we have been reacting to that growth. This is generally the area that we're talking about. Holly Shelter Road, Sidbury Road is here, 140, and then 17, and then Interstate 40 coming back up. It is one of our largest service areas for sewer in our entire portfolio. We have 2 ways to convey wastewater currently out of that area. We have our Smith Creek Pump Station and force main that collects all the wastewater in pretty much all the existing developed areas in this basin to our north side wastewater treatment plant. And then in anticipating of future growth, we constructed the Blue Clay Road force main a few years ago and purchased the remaining capacity in the Chair Road force main to be ready for growth in this larger undeveloped area. And that was part of the study that we conducted with New Hanover County last year. Even prior to that, we have been kind of gearing up and getting ready for a lot of growth in this area. I listed here 7 individual projects for wastewater that we have done over the last several years to build additional capacity, ranging from our Country Haven and Kirkland pump stations in the Ogden area. We did an improvement at that Smith Creek pump station already. We built a Blue Clay Road force main and various other projects. In total, those wastewater projects added up to $12 million that we have constructed generally since 2015. But at the end of the day, all the flow needs to come to our wastewater treatment plant, and we need to have capacity there. And even before that 2015 date, in the early days of the authority, a large capacity upgrade was done at our north side plant that now allows us to handle that projected flow that we can see from this large growth area. That was a $69 million project that occurred in the early days of the authority. As I said earlier, last year we did a study with New Hanover County Planning. It was jointly funded to look at what are the water and wastewater needs for this larger Sidbury Road area. The project was completed last July. And the basis for any one of those projects is what are the growth assumptions? And for this, we assumed a 3.5% annual growth rate for this area, which is pretty aggressive by all standards. This kind of gives you a sense of scale of what we have been seeing here in year 1. I think we all know that there's a lot of growth going on in the community. This is a stat that we found in that first bullet from the K4 Realtors in 2019. Homes on the market was about 3.5 months, and in August of 21, it was less than 1 month of the home supply on the market. But more importantly, looking at the growth rates that were assumed in the study and what we've actually seen here in year 1, in the study, it was assumed that about 5,500 3-bedroom homes would be added in this Sidbury Greenview Ranches area by 2030. 5,500 3-bedroom homes. What we have seen here in year 1 is just people have come in for permits, for rezoning, for due diligence, about 2,500 3-bedroom homes have been requesting capacity. So it's about half of what was anticipated by 2030 we've already seen here in 2021. This graph shows essentially the same thing, but in terms of flow, instead of the number of housing units. But just real quick, the study that looked at future flows for wastewater in 2030, 2040, and 2050. The dashed line is kind of like the growth rate. And as you can see, in year one in 2021, we have far exceeded that in terms of permit demand. It's about half of that what was anticipated by 2030. So how do we manage that growth that we have seen? Again, it's been quite significant, which in terms of doing that study and looking at that being the future frontier for development, it seems like it's a good story, right? Because, you know, it is, there's a lot of growth going on in that area, at least the demand for growth. With 50% of the anticipated flow permitted already here in 2021 over the next 10 years. The Greenview Ranches area, the area south of 140, the amount of requests that we have received for those areas is about 68% of what was projected being the total in 2050. So a very large influx of new development. I think the good story is that we have been able to accommodate this rapid initial growth with our existing infrastructure. We had to divert some flows in some different ways, but I think the flexibility in our system allows us to do that, and it's beneficial to accommodate this growth. But we also recognize that what the projects, the future projects that were anticipated in the study that we completed last year that would occur after 2030, we now need to advance those up in order to continue to provide abilities and capacity to serve this growth rate if that continues. Obviously, we cannot just kind of take a wait and see approach. We have to be ready because a lot of these projects take 4 or 5 years to implement. We cannot, you know, we can't just kind of hope for the best. We need to be ready. So one of the things for wastewater that we have been looking at is that this large area, there's only 2 ways currently to get the wastewater out of that. And clearly that was never anticipated to be the only, you know, the future way of the only ways to get wastewater out of this area. So we need to add a third highway, if you will, for wastewater to get wastewater out of this area and convey to our wastewater plant. And that's, this is just from a high level. We're looking at a pump station located near the North Carr Avenue, and then a new force main that would run to our wastewater treatment plant. And then those are the reasons why we feel that project is needed now. Essentially, it's the higher growth rates and the higher densities.
Carl, can I go back to that slide? So the existing two ways to get to the north side wastewater treatment, those don't have the those 2 lines don't have the total capacity for that whole block of area. I mean, I know we have capacity in the treatment plant, but we don't have the capacity in the lines or the pump stations.
We have the capacity to handle this near-term growth that we have seen. We have capacity to give us buffer.
But we don't have the 2050 capacity in those 2.
Exactly.
Okay.
This project here was essentially planned for in the 2030, 2035 time frame. Now we just need to move that up. This shows a little bit more detail of what that looks like with a new large capacity sewer pump station in the North Carr Bavaria lane area with a force main coming down North Carr and then Castle Hayne to our wastewater treatment plant. This is from 30,000 foot conceptual. Obviously a lot of engineering has to get into it, whether this is the true best approach, but it is a very strategic regional approach. And then it's a large force main. It's a 24-inch diameter force main because it's a lot of wastewater flow that we need to anticipate for, along with a large regional pump station. Very conceptually, we estimate that the cost would be in the order of $15 million. And the purpose of this presentation is just to make the board aware that we are going to move that into our upcoming CIP cycle with a engineering study probably starting here later this fall, such that by next June we're ready to work that into our capital program for FY23 and 24 construction, with hopefully and then completion by the end of 2025. And that is just to stay ahead of this large growth. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chair, if I may add, I'd like to reiterate what Carl was sharing. This is simply to place the board on notice that we're seeing changes affecting our planned CIP, and we're taking proactive stances to understand those changes and then place it within the portfolio of the capital improvement plan that we'll bring forward to the board for funding. So this, hopefully what we're planning to do will be better informed for the budgetary process that we'll undertake later this year.
Could you briefly explain the impacts on the water supply and wastewater treatment?
So in terms of wastewater treatment, our north side plant has a total capacity of 16 million gallons per day. Right now we average around 9 or so. So there's sufficient capacity at our wastewater treatment plant. And similarly, on our water facilities, we have sufficient capacity, but we also are expanding our Sweeney plant as part of this GAC project from 35 to 44 million gallons per day. And we're also in the process, as the board is aware, of expanding our Richardson plant from 6 to 7 MGD. We've already accomplished that. And now we have projects in the works in our CIP to go to 9 million gallons per day. There's a little, strange dynamic. Treatment plants, you have to plan a lot more in advance than wastewater collection systems and distribution systems as individual lines. It takes a lot of money and a lot of time to expand treatment facilities, and I think we've done that back in 2009 with the Northside expansion. We've built that capacity already in, and we're doing that now with Sweeney and Richardson to be ready at the supply and the receiving end. Pipelines are generally more done along the way as growth occurs. That's why we have a capacity management program to continuously look at our 150 pump stations and all of our various sewer basins and water models. We use water models to manage growth for our water distribution system. So those individual distribution lines are a lot more done as growth occurs, not 10, 15 years ahead of time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I mean, the growth has been exponential, and I know just in what I've seen in this corridor we're talking about here is ready for development. And I think it's been good to put all this together and put it on the radar and really serve the needs of the county and the future development. I mean, there's not much left, and this is it. So I appreciate everybody diving into this and putting it forward. So, good work.
That concludes our report.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Next, Finance Committee, Ms. Adams.
The Finance Committee met last week. The minutes are in your packet, and we've got a financial update.
Just a brief update.
I know.
Yeah. Morning. So just to look at our revenues versus our expenditures 2 months through the year as of August 31st, you can see that our total change in fund balance is $9.5 million to the negative, meaning that our expenditures to this point during the year have exceeded our revenues, and that's driven largely over here By the operating side, you can see we have our expenditures on the operating side have outpaced the revenues by around $7.7 million. And again, that's really just a timing thing. It's driven largely by the really big debt service payment that we have that was due and paid on August 1st. So that's reflected in there. Any surplus, any operating surplus is really a function, again, of revenues. On the expense side, we are constrained by what the budget says. There's controls in place in the accounting system where we cannot spend more than what's budgeted. So at the end of the year, any surplus or deficit is really a function of the revenue side, whether revenues came in over what we thought in the budget or whether they came in under. And just to give you kind of a look at that, everything's looking good. Now, again, this is 3 months through the year. This is as of September 30th, so 25% through the year. And you can see that our total revenues compared to our budget is around 28%. And so that's good news. That's around 3% higher than kind of where we are during the year. So everything's looking good from a revenue side. The conclusion there is that $7.7 million expenditures exceeding the revenues on the previous slide here is really just a function of timing. I had this large expenditure here, but during the year we're going to see our revenues catch up. So I'll be happy to answer any questions. And we'll be bringing the surplus calculation with the audit at the November board meeting. And again, that's, we're looking at a very marginal surplus. I think it's around a couple $100,000. And so we're going to be recommending that just chill and stay there. And we're not going to repurpose that, put that in a capital reserve or anything like that. So I just want to give you an update on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Middle Sustainability Committee, Dr. Ken.
Yes, the minutes from our meeting from September 23rd are in your packet. We spent the bulk of the meeting discussing sort of the evolution of the billing assistance program, sort of the two-tiered approach that we've had. And I think we're going to review with Kenny just to give the board an update of where the money's coming from, where the money's going, and a little bit about billing, if people have questions about the billing as well.
Thank you, Dr. Cannon. This is an abbreviated version of the report that staff gave at the Sustainability Committee. I'd like to begin by noting that I'm here representing this working group, and staff are here to answer questions for any particular set of issues, and we are dealing with a set of interrelated and fairly complicated issues and transitions within the billing components. I would also like to see if staff have an update on the delinquency statistics. John?
We do. The latest numbers, this is just residential customers. We have 2,045 customers having delinquent balances over $450. And the total amount related to those 2,045 customers is $2.01 million. And that implies an average amount of delinquency of $983.67. Chrissy also noted that when you factor in the payment plans, the people that are on payment plans, there are that reduces the amount that's outstanding if you kind of take into account the people that are on payment plans and the balances that are attached to those. That takes that number down from 2.01 million to 1.66 million and reduces the number down from 2,045 to 1,775 customers.
So the good news from that is we are seeing a bending of the curve. We're no longer seeing an increase in both delinquencies and delinquent amounts. And that can be attributed to the return to disconnects and the plethora of aid programs that we've been able together to develop. So I do want to briefly mention the importance of disconnects. It's an industry standard, last resort collection method, taken only when all outreach has failed. And prior to COVID-19, the vast majority of service disconnects resulted in quick resolution of the account delinquency, which is common in our industry. It's consistent with our fiduciary responsibilities to all of our customers to collect for services provided, and it will help customers provincially avoid unmanageable balances. And finally, perhaps most importantly, it allows CFPUA to participate in the upcoming Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program, LIWAP, of which we'll discuss a little more in this presentation. Now, it's been more than 20 months since we've been part of the residential disconnection process. So we felt it was important to educate our board members and remind them how that process flows. First, there's a final notice letter that's generated 45 days after the bill date, i.e. the date the customer gets their bill. And this is also 15 days after the bill is due. The disconnection notice letter is generally created on a Monday, approximately 2 weeks prior to final payment date. If the customer does not pay by 5 p.m. on Monday, 2 weeks after that letter generation, a disconnection service order is generated that next morning, which is Tuesday. If the service is disconnected, a customer must schedule a reconnection by phone or in person at one of 2 locations. Reconnection appointments allow for reconnection on the same business day, if requested before 2:30 p.m. Otherwise, reconnection occurs on the next business day. Customers may choose to pay a $110 emergency after-hours reconnection fee, which is after 5 p.m. on business days or on weekends. It's also important to note that customers who default on payment plans after the initial reconnection are disconnected without additional notice. I wanted to highlight that we have 4 existing customer assistance programs to provide aid to those in need. The most important of which is the CFPUA COVID Relief Program, and it is funded by 2 large grants from our partners at the city and county, to their credit. Christy, can you share the latest numbers regarding the applications for this program?
Sure. Currently, we have 453 applicants that are in some state, excluding those that are ineligible, were not pre-qualified, or are not duplicate applicants. Of that 453, 125 have actually received awards, and the awards total about $93,000 to date. The median amount of the award is around $400. And finally, of the applicants, I think the county makes up 24% of the applicants, with remaining being within the city limits.
So an important component of this program is the ease of which a customer can apply for it. They can apply on our website landing page or on our specific aid program page. And if in their application they are pre-qualified, we then remove them from the disconnect list for up to 30 days while their application is processed. There are a couple of other programs, though, to be aware of, and they're important because they have slightly different qualification criteria, including a broader household income criteria in some cases. So where a customer doesn't qualify because of income for the CFPUA COVID Relief Program, they may qualify for one of 2 other programs. Yes,
Just
sir.
a question on the COVID relief program. When somebody is given a grant, does that generally bring them up to date on their bills, or is that just a partial payment on what they owe?
Sure. So the award can include any charges that are still outstanding that were incurred between January 27th of 2020
and they will also include delinquent charges through October 15th of 2021. In most cases, that the amounts that are being covered will cover the entire amount of the delinquency. Last I checked, there were fewer than 10 that actually had balances that were incurred prior to COVID, or prior to the January 27th date. For those customers that still have an outstanding balance, we'll work with them on getting them on a payment plan to try to resolve, that remaining balance. And that will also keep them in water while they're on a payment plan as long as they're adhering to payment plan.
Okay, so people that are going through this program are getting, at least in the short term, out of risk of being disconnected.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So I do want to mention an upcoming fifth program, which we hope will take that number and reduce it even further. This is the low-income household, not home, water assistance program. It's anticipated to start in November. It is a direct fund program, i.e. funds come from the federal government to the state, and then through the state they flow through to our partners over at New Hanover County DHHS, and we will make them aware of the list of customers who are eligible for disconnection. They will compare that list with known individuals who pre-qualify for other aid programs and then provide payment on their behalf. So there's an opportunity here to remove a substantial portion of our outstanding delinquencies. And we've got a lot of hope for this program when it is stood up. Also, want to remind the board that we have modified our policies to mitigate the impact of returning to disconnects. This includes sending far fewer disconnection letters and ensuring that we manage the actual disconnects in a way that our staff can properly address the number of folks that might come in from those disconnect letters and direct them over to the various aid programs. So right now, that's targeted at 100 letters a week, 100 disconnects, no more than 100 disconnects 2 weeks later. I will note that we will be ramping that up sometime in the future as we get used to the realities of managing these aid programs, and the new Lee HOP or Lee Watt program comes online. So you may see us provide you notice at some time in the future that we're going to 200 letters a week, 300 letters a week, 400, whatever is manageable, as disconnects are our primary tool to bring people in to resolve these issues. I also want to note that our customer service staff have done an incredible job of managing these multiple issues, and I've authorized some activities to support them in that process. To reduce the burden on this already heavily burdened team, we've authorized overhiring, temporary rehiring of retired employees, additional support services from vendors, and our employee assistance program stands ready to step in. As you can imagine, returning to residential disconnect places a lot of stress on both the customer and on the staff who have to manage that. And I want to take a moment to provide credit to Christy and John's support staff that support Christy, who have done a yeoman's job in managing this well. Finally, we want to make sure that you understand the level of effort we're making in terms of communication. We have ongoing TV ads and social media posts. We redoubled our efforts actually in August by sending letters at the beginning of the month, letting folks know that we were going to resume shutoffs. And that was not the actual shutoff letter, that was a pre-notice. We have done a lot of community-wide messaging, Spanish language radio, placards inside of Wave transit buses, partnering with local governments and community agencies to get the word out, including New Hanover schools, the County Senior Center, Harrelson Center, and several churches. I'd like to make special note of the help that we've had from board members in getting out to the community and providing that multiple communication path. I'd also note that one of our partners, Nourish NC, even included flyers in the boxes for food they distribute to individuals and families in need with our community. And again, I want to give special credit to our partners at the city and county who are promoting our assistance programs on their websites and our shared social media outlets. Finally, a note on monthly billing. We have successfully transitioned to monthly billing. Again, tremendous credit to Christie's staff for accomplishing that and everything else. The policies that you adopted at your September 8th meeting were very helpful for that process, so thank you. And then we do want to make a special note of a situation you need to be aware of. And that is the payment card industry convenience fee has changed. You may recall that this fee is used whenever folks pay by payment cards such as credit cards, or in the future when they're paying by PayPal, Venmo, Amazon Pay, Google Pay, or Apple Pay. It is not charged when paying by e-check, by interactive voice response system, by bank draft, or online through a financial institution pay service, or by mailing in checks, or in-person payment by check or cash. The previous fee for bi-monthly billing was $3.75. The current fee is $3, and folks will be paying that if they pay by credit card, like I do, 12 times a year instead of 6. Do you have any questions for staff?
We run our assistance program through Good Shepherd Ministries, is that correct?
That is correct. Well, one of our assistance programs.
Right, but that's one of our main interfaces, with the community. How is that relationship going? Are there any hiccups in that? Because essentially they become the face of CFPUA. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, I've not heard of any concerns filtering up my way. Christy or John?
No, they've been very easy to work with. We have open communications within the team, so if there's a question about an account or process, then they're in constant communication with us. But so far, there have been no issues with this program. It's run very smoothly.
Thank you.
And I would like to point out that is our most important program, CFPUA COVID Assist. But there are other programs managed by New Hanover County DHHS. They have been great partners to work with us on behalf of those issues, as well as county and city staff, ensuring that we could put all of these programs together.
Mr. Chairman, I'd also like to note one of the details. So the county and the city both have come to the table with $500,000 each. And I know the county is also awarding Good Shepherd $25,000 over the course of the program to help with their administrative costs. So, and I think Good Shepherd, they've got a smooth running operation. They're used to processing these types of things. I think it's worked out really well. I think to the average outsider, they hear, wait, a faith-based community person's going to come in and run our what? But it works really well in our community. Many of these faith-based nonprofits are just very adept, very adroit. It's very smooth. So I think it's come together really nicely, and you all really deserve a lot of thanks for making these programs work so well, so smoothly.
Thank you, and credit goes to staff. Any other questions?
That's the end of our report from sustainability. Although, do we need to make a motion to approve that contract, or is that good to go? Okay.
Okay, well, thank you. Any old business or closing comments before we go into closed session? I think the only comment I want to make, I feel like we make this every other month, but there is so much stuff going on with the same staff, and there's so many good things that everybody is doing, And it's just kind of remarkable that you can take on all these issues, planning for the future, dealing with these things as they occur, and keep all those things going in the manner that they are. I think it's really remarkable. And, says a lot about this organization. So just say thank you on behalf of the board to all the staff. With that, take a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
To discuss the claims.
Yeah, for what purpose?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yeah, to discuss two claims.
Before we come back.
Thank you.
I would like to make a motion to thank Donna for not making room.